Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Maha Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dashraghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishtaparata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Raseshwari Mataji, and Dandavat Pranam, Rupa Manjari Didi, and Rohini Dulal Prabhu. Hari Bol. Alright. So today we will sing the next Vaishnav Kirtan. Internet now. Oh man. For a long time, the internet was totally fine, and then the internet guy made he took the router and said he needed to make some change, and now it's been bad. Anyhow. Alright, let's do sing our first kirtan. So yesterday we sang Thakur Vaishnava Pada by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and today we are singing Ohe Vaishnav Thakur by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. O Vaishnav Thakur, you are an ocean of mercy. Being compassionate upon this servant, please purify me by giving me the shade of your feet, of which I take hold. Please help me to subdue the 6 urges and purify my 6 faults. Bestow upon this servant the 6 qualities of a devotee and give me the 6 kinds of devotional association. I am waiting in hope of attaining your association. Alone, I do not have the strength to perform Harinam Kirtan. Being kind and giving me 1 drop of faith, please bestow upon me the priceless treasure of Krishna Nam. Krishna is yours, so you have the power to give Krishna. I am only a beggar running behind you, calling out Krishna, Krishna. Oops. O He Vaishnava Thakura Adayara Sahagara Edase Koruna Kori Edase Koruna Kori Diya Pada Chaya Shodo He Amare Diya Pada Chaya Shodo He Amare তোমার চরণ ধরি, তোমার চরণ ধরি, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর, হে দাস করুণা করি, জয় বেগ তুমি, জয় দোষ শোধি, জয় গুণ দেহ দাসে, জয় বেগ তুমি, জয় দোষ শোধি, জয় গুণ দেহ দাসে, জয় সৎসঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে, জয় সৎসঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে, বসেছি সঙ্গে রয়াসে, ও বসেছি সঙ্গে রয়াসে, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর, হে দাস করুণা করি, একাকী আমার নাহি পাইব হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে, একাকী আমার নাহি পাইব হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে, তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া, তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া, দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধানে, ও দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধানে, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর, হে দাস করুণা করি, কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো, তোমার শক্তি আছে, ও কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো, তোমার শক্তি আছে, আমি তো কাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি, আমি তো কাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি, ধাই তব পাছে পাছে, ধাই তব পাছে পাছে, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর, হে দাস করুণা করি, ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর, হে দাস করুণা করি, Tiya pada chaya shada hai amare, Tiya pada chaya shada hai amare, Tomara charana dori, Tomara charana dori. Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. Let me see if is the internet still working? Is it cutting in and cutting out? Anyhow. Okay, it looks like it's working right now, at least. So, today is the first chapter of this book, The Heart of Krishna by Śrīla Bhakti Pramoda Purī Gosvāmī Mahārāja, all on the topic of Vaishnava Aparad. So this first chapter, the Vaishnava King, Ambariśa Mahārāja. We often hear devotees lament, "Why is it that I have no taste for chanting the holy name, Krishna Nam?" Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswāmī answers this question in the 8th chapter of the Adi Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we want to sincerely absorb ourselves in bhajan, we must take his instructions seriously. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in the summary of this chapter. The 8th chapter describes the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. One can chant the holy name birth after birth, but if one is chanting with offenses, if one is committing namaparad, he will never love Krishna. If one exhibits symptoms of ecstasy, ashtasattvic vikar, but is chanting with offenses, those symptoms are phony. Whatever symptoms he exhibits of ecstasy, those are just phony. However, one who repeats the names of Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu in the Panchatattva in full surrender will be freed from aparads by the mercy of the Panchatattva and will then experience growing love for the holy name and for Krishna. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, "The vibration of the pundits is like the croaking of frogs." Without Krishna Bhakti, there is no Krishna Kripa, no mercy. Despite their vast learning and intelligence, because they do not accept Krishna's divinity, they are an illusion. And even if they accept Krishna's divinity, if they do not accept the divinity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are also in ignorance. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, one who does not recognize the Panchatattva, although culturing devotion, can never attract Krishna's mercy. Krishna, the embodiment of the Panchatattva, was overwhelmed by the mood and radiance of Radhika and appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even God himself wants to be a devotee, and he shows by his example the perfection of devotion. According to Mahaprabhu's teachings, only one who is humble, tolerant of others, and who treats others respectfully while expecting nothing in return can escape the clutches of the 10 offenses. Their very lives are situated in Krishna Nam and divine love of God. To illustrate the gravity of Vaishnava Aparad, which is the first of the 10 Nam Aparads, the first of the 10 offenses of the holy name, the story of Ambariśa Muni from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita helpful. Approximately into the life cycle of the universe, according to the Vedic time calculation, the 7th Manvatar, Vaibhasvat Shraddhadev, was the 7th Manu. His son was Nabhag, and his grandson was called Nabhag. One had a short A, and the other had long A. The exalted pure devotee Ambarish was his son. So he is the great-grandson of Manu, Shraddhadev Manu. Ambarish's purity could ward off even the inescapable curse of a Brahmin. Ambarish Mahārāja was an extremely fortunate soul. He ruled over the entire earth, and he was the proprietor of inexhaustible wealth. Yet, he treated his material possessions with disdain. Having cultivated deep love for the Lord and his devotees, he looked upon the world and all its allurements as trash. Ambariśa Mahārāja completely absorbed his entire being, within and without, in Krishna. The lotus feet of Krishna were ever present within his pure mind. Oh, this is a famous verse. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo vachanshi, what is it? Kunta gunan varnane. Harer padi mandira marjana disho, I think. I don't know. This is an important verse though. His voice was filled with Krishna Katha. He cleansed his soul by cleaning the temple. His ears continuously drank the nectar of Krishna Katha, and his eyes were filled with beautiful visions of the deities. The only aromas he knew were of tulsi, incense, and flowers offered to Krishna. He relished food tasted by Krishna. He walked to and from the temple and holy places. Ambariśa Mahārāja's entire being was saturated with Krishna consciousness. His only motive was to please Krishna. And anyone who saturates their body, mind, senses, and words in the Lord's service, as he did, will develop a deep attraction to the Lord and his pure devotees. The ministers and Brahmins, who were the king's well-wishers, advised Ambariśa Mahārāja on the running of his temple. The emperor did not personally perform them by the exclusive Brahmins. He kept aloof so that he could immerse himself in devotion to the Supreme Lord. Sri Hari, being extremely pleased with Ambariśa's devotion, gave him the protection of his Sudarshan Chakra, who was always ready to shield the Lord's devotees from harm. Sudarshan was always by Ambariśa's side. To satisfy Krishna, Ambariśa Mahārāja and his queen observed Ekadashi and Dwadashi vows for 1 full year in Mathura, Yamuna. At the end of the month of Kartik, after a 3-night fast, Ambariśa bathed in the Yamuna and went to Madhuban in Vrindavan to worship Krishna. Śrīla Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur writes in his commentary, Mahārāja Ambariśa observed the vow of Ekadashi throughout his life. Yet, he developed the yearning to observe the same for a year in Mathura Dham. Observed Ekadashi for a year. At the end of this vrat, fasting for 3 nights is recommended. This means to eat simple prasadam, havishyana, on the Dashami and Dwadashi once at midday, and to maintain a dry fast throughout the whole of Ekadashi, day and night. Ambariśa Mahārāja performed the Mahā-Abhishek, the bathing ceremony of Krishna, on a grand scale according to Vedic rituals with Panchagavya, Panchamrita, Sarvoshadi, Mahoshadi, and so on. He decorated the Lord with jewelry and fineries, and gave away silk clothes, cows, and other expensive gifts to the Brahmins. At home, he distributed to sadhus and Brahmins millions of cows whose horns and hooves were gilded with gold and silver, and he held a grand feast for all the Brahmins. While Ambariśa Mahārāja was preparing to break his fast under the directions of the Siddharthan Brahmins, the mystic Durvasa Muni arrived at his house. Ambariśa respectfully received the exalted sage. He sat at the Muni's feet and begged him to honor prasadam at his home. The sage graciously accepted the invitation, saying that he first had to complete his daily ablutions, and thereafter he would be ready to eat. The sage went to bathe in the Yamuna, and after his rituals, he went into deep meditation. Meanwhile, the auspicious time for Ambariśa to break his fast was ending, but for a host to eat before a Brahmin guest is a transgression of proper etiquette. The emperor turned to his advisors. The Brahmins were perplexed and remained silent. Ambariśa decided to drink water because the Vedas have declared that aposhnati tan naivashitam iti. Drinking water can either be considered eating or not eating. The Brahmins consented to this course of action. The king then meditated on the Supreme Lord, drank a little water, and waited for the sage's return. After Durvasa Muni had completed his rituals, he returned to the palace. Durvasa had seen with his mystic powers that the emperor had drunk water, and he was outraged. He began to chastise the emperor, who stood before him with folded hands. "Look at this cruel man, intoxicated with the pride of wealth. You think that you are God, although you are not even a devotee. You have transgressed the laws of religion. First you invite me as your guest to eat, but because you have eaten without feeding me, I will punish you." Durvasa Muni tore a hair from his head and created a demon. The fearsome fire demon held a trident in his hand and stomped around, making the entire earth tremble. But Ambariśa remained calm. Then, the Supreme Lord Sudarshan Chakra, already residing with Ambariśa on the Lord's order, immediately consumed the demon in flames. Durvasa Muni was stunned by the destruction of his demon. He then saw the ominous Sudarshan rushing towards him. He ran in fear of his life, but wherever he ran, the Sudarshan disc followed right behind, scalding his back with an incinerating heat. Durvasa sought shelter in the caves of Mount Sumeru, in the sky, on the earth, in the palaces of kings, and in the ocean. Yet everywhere he went, he felt the flaming disc bearing down on him. He went to Brahma and Shiva begging for shelter, but they refused, knowing that he was an aparadhi, an offender to the Vaishnava. Shiva advised him to surrender to the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Durvasa Muni left the universe and entered into Vaikuntha, the spiritual abode of Sri Narayan, and threw himself at the feet of the Lord, relaxing with his consort Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune. With his body and constantly feeling the heat of Sudarshan. "Oh, my Supreme Lord, I have offended one of your favorite devotees. Please forgive me. If even a person living in hell becomes liberated simply by vibrating your name, then nothing is impossible for you. Please save me." The Lord replied, "I am completely under the control of my devotees. I have no freedom. I live happily within their hearts. Even those who are devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. Without them, I am nothing. Aham bhakta paradhino hyasvatantra iva dvija sadhu vir grasta hridayo bhakter bhakta jana priya." Srimad Bhagavatam 9.463. My devotees are my life. I am a prisoner of their love. Even their devotees are very dear to me. Even their devotees are very dear to me. I remember in the Bengali book, this part was a little bit different. Let me just see. Where is it? Arthat Shri Bhagavan Kohilen, "Hey Dvija, hey Mune, Ami Bhaktir Adhin." I am completely dependent on my devotees. I am completely under the control of my devotees. "Rudradi Devata Jairup Amar Adhin Hoya, Tomake Rakha Korite Samartha." Rudradi Devata Jairup Amar Adhin Hoya, Tomake Rakha Korite Samarthanai. Ami O Tadrup Bhaktir Adhin, Sutaram Tomake Rakha Korite Asamartha. Just as Rudra and Brahma, just as Shiva and Brahma are under my control and therefore cannot protect you, in the same way, I also am under the control of my devotees. Therefore, I am not capable of protecting you. Sutaram Asvatantra Nyaya. Therefore, I am independent. Mukti Parjanta Vasana Rahit Bhaktagan Amar Hriday ke Gras Koriyacha. The devotees don't even desire liberation. They have completely, Hriday ke Gras Koriyacha. They have completed my heart. Bhakter Kataki, Bhakter Palya Jana. What to speak of my bhaktas? Even the bhaktas Palya Jan, those people who my devotees are nurturing, those who are sheltered by my devotees, they are very dear, extremely dear to me. Translating on the spot. But yeah, that's where Śrīla Bhakti Purī Gosvāmī said here. Okay. By offending Ambarish, you are ruining yourself. When one's power is used against a devotee, it harms only the one who employs it. It is the subject, not the object, who is harmed. For a Brahmin, austerity and learning are certainly good. But for a person who is not qualified, they are dangerous. Therefore, you should go to him immediately and beg forgiveness. Immediately upon receiving the Lord's instructions, Durvasa rushed back to Ambarish Mahārāja, fell at his feet and clasped them tightly. The emperor was embarrassed at having a sage touch his feet, so he prayed to the Sudarshan, his heart overflowing with sympathy for the sage. The devotees, O Bhakta Rakshak, O destroyer of all weapons, O most Vaishnav, you are an expansion of divine power. You dissipate ignorance and reveal devotion to the Lord. You terminate the jiva being Maya's master and give him the beautiful vision of servitorship. Sambandha Gyan. Su darshan means beautiful and darshan means vision. Su means beautiful and darshan means vision. So you give him a beautiful vision of servitorship in the form of Sambandha Gyan, one's relationship with the Lord. You are the most beloved devotee of the Lord. I have forgiven him. You please forgive him. You please forgive him too. The Sudarshan chakra was pacified and saved Durvasa Muni from the pain-ching heat. Durvasa Muni repeatedly blessed Ambarish, my dear king, today I have experienced the greatness of devotees, for although I committed an offense, you prayed for my good fortune. For nothing is impossible. Simply by hearing my name is purified. You are so merciful, you overlooked my offense and saved my life. I am indebted to you. Durvasa Muni expressed his deep gratitude to Mahārāja. The emperor had been waiting all this time for the sage's return, had not eaten for almost a year. He fell at Durvasa's feet and begged him. He fed him sumptuously, and with great satisfaction, the sage said that the emperor also take prasadam. My dear king, I am so pleased with you. You are simply an ordinary person. Now I understand that you are an extremely. Therefore, simply by seeing, touching your feet, and talking to you, I feel purified and blessed. May you be glorified in heaven and on earth until the end of time. In this way, Ambarish Mahārāja realized the absolute truth to be one, Vasudev, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Always absorbed in acts of devotion, he considered even the topmost material planet of Brahmaloka, with all of its opulence and pleasures, to be nothing more than a royal version of hell. At the conclusion of this story, Shukadev Gosvāmī tells Parikshit Mahārāja, the person who narrates or meditates on this Ambarish Mahārāja will become eligible to engage in pure devotional service at the lotus feet of Krishna. The point being emphasized in this Śrīla is that if we have committed an offense, we must submissively approach the same devotee whom we have offended and beg his forgiveness. Then the Supreme Lord, who is a slave to his devotee's love, will accept our prayers. Humbly taking the position of a servant of the Lord's servant, he will attract the mercy of the Lord. This is the ultimate gift of a pure devotee. Only they can give us Krishna. We just sang that, right? Krishna dite paro. You can give us Krishna. You can give me Krishna. In the case of Durvasa Muni, although he possessed mystic power which allowed him to physically enter Brahmaloka, Shivaloka, and even Vaikuntha Loka, he still could not escape the menacing rage of Sudarshan. Only after unconditionally surrendering himself at Ambarish's feet did the Lord's personal weapon withdraw. Our distorted perception of divinity cannot be rectified without the grace of Sudarshan, which means real vision. The proper comprehension of the esoteric principles of Vishnu and Vaishnava elude us without, The proper comprehension of esoteric principles of Vishnu and Vaishnava elude us without it, without this sudarshan, without this real vision. Is that the end? No, it's not. Okay. Embellishing himself with the sublime mood and radiance of Sri Radha, Krishna appears as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his confidants, Rai Ramananda and Swarup Damodar Gosvāmī, who are the supreme teachers of the science of Ras. But the Lord himself says, if you want to taste this Prem Ras, then you will have to be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, and expect no respect for yourself while offering all respects to others. By chanting the 16 names of the 32-syllabled Hare Krishna Mahamantra, without committing the 10 offenses of Namaparad, one becomes eligible to enter the spiritual abode of Goloka and find the highest treasure, Braj Prem Ras. Otherwise, we may chant until our tongues fall out. We may chant until our tongues fall out and gain nothing. Prior to the advent of Sri Chaitanya Dev, this confidential knowledge had never been revealed. He not only revealed it, but distributed it freely. So everyone must avoid the 10 kinds of Namaparads, especially the first, to offend a Vaishnava. Because a Vaishnava has taken shelter in the holy name and is giving his shelter to others. Violation of this principle destroys bhakti, destroys devotion. Wow. All right. That was very, this book is so good. Does anybody have any, any songs, any song requests, what we should sing right now? Otherwise, if nobody chooses anything, I can choose something. Okay, I'm checking back. Kejabi bhai. Okay, we can sing that. Let's go there. Okay. Oops, it's supposed to be a long. Kejabi. Okay. O tora ke jabi re bhai Bhava Sindhu Para Tora ke jabi re bhai Bhava Sindhu Para Dhanya Kali Juge Rache Tanya Yavatara jabe bhava para dhanya kali jugera che tanya yavata jabe bhava para tora ke jabe re bhava sindhu para tora ke jabe re bhava sindhu para amara ghate adan kheyava adan kheyava amara gaurangel ghate adan kheyava adan kheyava jarayanda yatoraya vadi para avadi para jarayanda yatoraya vadi para avadi para tora ke jabe re bhava sindhu para tora ke jabe re bhava sindhu para hari name nokakani Shri Guru Kandare Shri Guru Kandare Hari Name Nokakani Shri Guru Kandare Sankirtana kerayal Sankirtana kerayal Dubahu pasare Dubahu pasare Sankirtana kerayal Dubahu pasari dubahu pasari ke jabe re bhava sindhu para tora ke jabe re bhava sindhu para sava jiva hoila par premera প্রেমের বাতাসে, আজি প্রেমের বাতাসে সব জীব হইল পার। প্রেমের বাতাসে, আজি প্রেমের বাতাসে সব জীব হইল পার। প্রেমের বাতাসে, আজি প্রেমের বাতাসে সব জীব হইল পার। প্রেমের বাতাসে, আজি প্রেমের বাতাসে পড়িয়া রহিল লোচন, পড়িয়া রহিল, পড়িয়া রহিল লোচন আপনার দোষে। আপনার দোষ পড়িয়া রহিল লোচন আপনার দোষে। আপনার দোষে কে যাবে, কে যাবি রে ভাই বাবা সিন্ধু পার। তোরা কে যাবে, কে যাবি রে ভাই বাবা সিন্ধু পার। কন্যা কালে যোগে রচে তায়া যাবে বাবা পার। তান্যা কালে যোগে রচে তান্যা Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Bhakta Vatsala, Jaya Krishna Chandra, Bhakta Vatsala, Shri Krishna Chandra, Jaya Bhakta Vatsala, Krishna Chandra, Bhakta Vatsala, Krishna Chandra, Jaya Bhakta Vatsala, Gaura Hari, Bhakta Vatsala, Gaura Hari, Jaya Bhakta Vatsala, Gaura Hari, Bhakta Vatsala, Gaura Hari, Jai Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jai Gurudeva, Jai Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jai Guru, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shri Nitai Gaur, Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. जय श्री गुरु रंग गंधार्विक गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरण मोहन जू की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट तरशतश्मरांत नर गुरुदेव की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद स्मर शिल भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद अष्टतरशतस्मर शिल भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद अष्टतरशतस्मर शिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद अष्टतरशतस्मर शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत शिल गोरक्षरस बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट शिल सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम शिल जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूप गौरिया गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल दास रघुनाथ शो की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नितिल प्रविष्ट विष्णुपाद अष्टतरशतस्मर शिल भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोसाई महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाय कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। धन्यवाद। हरि बोल।